everybody feeling today?
What's up, bro?
Have a good day. I won't take up too much of your time. They asked me to come and give some closing remarks, and someone told me that my story inspires some people. So I always try to come whenever I'm invited to tell a little bit about my experience as an engineer for life. So I need everybody to stand up. You had a good time, right? Inspired to be an engineer for a day, a week, a year. Everybody stand up. The process for you to become an engineer is already begun. It didn't start today, it didn't start this morning, it didn't start last week. Your choices that you've made come together. Mr. Simonson asked what that word cumulative meant. It meant that the action that you take form your footsteps and the process and the mark that you will leave on this world. So we're going to talk about what you need to do to be successful as an engineer or as a human being for the rest of your life. So I need everybody to say this out. The actions that I take from this day forward will affect my ability to succeed. Say it one more time with me. The actions that I take from this day forward will affect my ability to succeed. Thank you. You may be seated. My name is Delano White. I am an alumni member of the National Society of Black Engineers here in Cincinnati. I am a past national chairperson of the National Society of Black Engineers. I am an entrepreneur. I am a graduate of the University of Michigan. I hold a degree in chemical engineering, don't hate. I see you back there. Go Blue. I love Michigan. Auto classes that you hate, linear algebra, my favorite class. Heat mass transfer, yes. But we'll talk about my process, because not only am I an engineer, not only am I an entrepreneur, not only am I an author, I am an ex-offender. And the choices that I made led me to almost lose my gift, my calling as an engineer. I was in prison for 2 years. While many argue, including myself, that I should not have been there, the truth of the matter is the choices I made well before that took me off my game. When I was 16 years old, I was like most people in this room. I was the smart one. I knew everything. You know, even if I knew the answer. But the problem was when you're 16, you don't always like telling people you're smart, right? How many people been through that? You ain't got to raise your hand. How many people don't like telling everybody they're smart? Because what happens? Oh, you a nerd. You a nerd. You ain't cool. You smart. He's smart. My philosophy is that nerds do it better. But we get caught up in that. As a 16-year-old, I was the smartest one in my class. I wasn't getting the best grades because the person getting the best grades, I never got the coolest car, never got the coolest girl, never got to play basketball. So I got the grades I got by going to class, understanding it, going to hang out with my friends, shooting dice, playing basketball, and still getting my good grades. Never did I apply myself, because applying myself meant what? That I wasn't cool. I wasn't supposed to be studying. I wasn't supposed to be doing all the things that my community called a nerd. Understand that the choices that we make will affect us. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. Who are you here for? How many people honestly came because they wanted to come? That's good. See, you shaking. Your mama told you to come, didn't she? Your mama told you you're going to go to that event up there with them nerds. And we're going to that engineering event today. I don't care what you say. You getting up out that bed, right? Something like that. Maybe not exactly, but it's something like that, right? You was told you was coming to this thing. I understand. I've been there. So we have fun, and we come to events and we're smart, and then we come to events like this and we kind of show out and clown because we don't want people to know that we're smart. That was me. So we have to ask ourselves, why am I here? You know, why do you want to be, how many people honestly want to be an engineer? Okay. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I was good in math, I knew I was good in science, had a professor, had a counselor, a good counselor pulled me in the room and said, look, you're good in math, you're in science, you're a goofball, but you should become a chemical engineer. And I said, why should I do that? He said, because they make the most money out of undergrad. Bingo, there I am. Because my mama told me, I was going to college. It wasn't a choice. So I was going to become a chemical engineer because my mama told me I was going to become a chemical engineer. And they told me chemical engineers made the most money. So I made that choice. But I wasn't ready to be an engineer for life because I wasn't doing it for me. Now my life, I went to school, but I would go to my grandma's house, and I was always envious because I didn't see engineers in my hood. I didn't see engineers when I went to my grandmother's house. I didn't know what a black engineer looked like. I knew what the basketball players in my neighborhood looked like. I knew what the dope boys in my grandma's neighborhood looked like. I didn't know what an engineer looked like. So they told me, okay, you can make $40,000, $50,000 as an engineer. I said, well, dude around the corner make way more than that doing what he do. So it wasn't sexy to me. I didn't understand that. I knew I watched. Engineer was not sexy. It wasn't. There was no swag. Right? We didn't have that image. You know, they had cool lawyers on TV. We had Dwayne Wayne, and he had a very hot girlfriend. He had Whitney Gilbert, you know, and he couldn't get a job, though. But all I know is engineering wasn't that deal. All I knew is they told me I could make $40,000, $50,000 a year. But the people who I looked up to, I thought the dope boys were making way more than that. Shaquille O'Neal was making way more than that dunking that basketball. Why would I want to be an engineer? So instead of me surrounding myself with greatness, I surrounded myself with negativity. And I ended up almost losing it because I wasn't ready to accept my gift. I was more concerned with what the people around me were doing, what people around me, how people around me viewed me, and not accepting my gift. And so it took me going through trials and triumphs, and the reason why I come and speak out is because there's people in this room, and I see it. I see people in this room right now giving away their gift because they're too concerned with how people perceive them. So I come and I speak and I write books because I want people to understand that your gift, you need to accept it, you need to use it, and you need to change the world with it. So as I close, I'm going to ask you how you define success. Because it took me a long time, and it was through organizations like this, the National Society of Black Engineers, that helped me focus. It helped me walk in a room with 7,000 people, great people. That's okay, they're engineers, but they're cool. They're running the world. And it took me to understand that 99% of the engineers that I met earn way more money than 99% of the dope boys, the rappers, actors, the hooper that been talking about that dream and now 50 years old, talking about they gonna make it. Engineering was providing a life. I was introduced to people that were making a great life for themselves as engineers, becoming successful. There's engineers that own apparel companies. There's engineers that own record labels. Engineering is a gateway skill. Engineers learn things, learn how to work together in teams. They learn how to look at problems, problem solvers. What do engineers do? We make the world. And when we're done making the world, we circle back and make it better. We solve problems. So you take the skills, even if you want to become a doctor, I know engineers that have become doctors. This is a skill that will provide you a lifelong ability to success. As I said, I've been to prison. I'll tell you one thing about an engineer versus the guys in the hood. Everyone that I've met in college has become successful, took school importantly. Took school as in being important. Everyone I met in jail, the dope boys, the former basketball players, they did. And this is where their success came from, going to school, realizing their dream. Success is going to be defined by you. Some people want to be successful. You want to be successful. It starts today. You know, it's going to be a long pathway. You need to understand the concept of instant gratification. There are a lot of things that's going to come in your way. It's going to be hard. You're going to have to work hard to get there. Someone said, why would it be better if it's harder? You're walking down the street. For my fellas, you see Shanae and you see Holly Berry. You're going to have to work a little bit harder to meet Holly Berry, but it's better. The things that you want to achieve in life, you're going to work hard for. Maybe for that moment, you can get an easy win. It may seem easier, but the best things in life, you're going to have to work for it. And then the best thing you're going to do with that, once you achieve everything that you have, is to give back to your community. When we walk out this room and we look at our community is struggling because we haven't had engineers in those communities. We haven't had successful engineers who worked at Procter & Gamble and not only went to Procter & Gamble or GE, but brought that back to our community and built up our people and the next generation. That's a challenge ahead of you. You know, I wish you all well. Take this for what it is. I want you to think of one thing. Where are my 15 and 16-year-olds in this room? You take every 15, 16-year-old, in 15, 20 years, there'll be $1 million worth of net worth in this room. Come together with these people you meet in this room and tell me that you can't change the world. Think about that. Think about long term. Don't think about just what you're doing in the next 5 minutes. Think about what you're doing in the next 5, next 50 years. Think about that and have a great life. Have a great weekend. God bless. Good afternoon.